Here's what I'd love to do, because one of the very first things that you and I talked about is you talked about how we need alignment and it needs to be bulletproof. A lot of us talk about alignment. We know that there's not alignment, sometimes all the way down to our own definition of the ICP within our organization. By the way, this is the number one challenge in B2B today. I asked a question about what the top two challenges are to everyone, every C-suite executive that comes on. By far, this is the number one. I've had a number of different people on that are in go-to-market consulting firms. They confirm it. This is the biggie. How do you bulletproof? In your terms, why is it important? And then how do you bulletproof internal alignment?
It's a great question. I work at a phenomenal company called Grid Unity, a leader in interconnection and grid planning, really at the precipice of all the dynamic changes happening with AI, data centers, energy consumption. We have a similar makeup to a lot of other companies that are VC, PE backed, or founder led. It's all about alignment. Ultimately, I think one of the first objectives you have as a chief growth officer is to ensure 100% alignment with the board, your CEO, the executive team on the direction that everyone believes we've got to go in as a company. The other thing is chief growth officers, chief revenue officers, we're personalities by nature. We're relationship experts. But we also tend to believe that all of our priorities are the only priorities sometimes. I think executive alignment to understand the other executives that are coming to the table also have priorities. They also have goals. They also have objectives. So finding the cross-functional seams between your objectives and theirs will propagate and accelerate the goals you have as a chief revenue or chief growth officer.
You started to answer the question there, right? But here's a kind of a broader question, is that we all know we have this as a problem. We even talk about it and we can agree in a meeting, but then what actually takes place, right? I wouldn't be any different if I had all my compensation based on the number I was going to hit this quarter and a deal that maybe didn't quite fit our ICP, but it was going to really help us hit our revenue number. Even though in the long term, we're probably going to churn that client. It's not right, or it's going to have a hard time servicing it, but it's what we do because it's how we're compensated. How do we act in alignment and not just talk about alignment?
Such a good question. And it leads to balancing kind of short-term and long-term goals as well. If you think about an executive teams have varying lenses in terms of the objectives they have. If you're in sales, you're looking within the quarter, within the half year, the year. If you're a really good chief revenue officer, a really good chief growth officer, 50% of your focus is on the current year, but then 50% of your focus should be on the following year. If you think about that level of focus amongst the executive team, that will align you in different ways. So I'm aligned at my peer level down within the year, but then I'm aligned with the chief product officer for next year. And I'm also aligned with the engineering, the CTO, for example, about ensuring that we've got high quality code output and we have ultimately high levels of customer satisfaction and low bug rates. All of that kind of stuff is really dependent on variables across the year. You need to understand what your peers are being measured on and what the company ultimately sees as success.